sunscreen. You know, on this show, and sometimes we have stories that seem a little concerning. Last week, we told you about this new study that reveals that sunscreen chemicals may be absorbing into your bloodstream like within a day. And on top of that, there are these tropical destinations like Hawaii and Key West in Florida that have banned certain sunscreens because they say the chemicals are, sloughing off our skin as we're out snorkeling and it's killing the coral. So you're like, what do I do here? Is sunscreen safe to wear? Should I just stop wearing it? No, you should absolutely not stop wearing it. But we want to help you understand sunscreen safety as we head into the summer. Dr. Michael Alston, pediatrician with Kaiser Permanente, thank you very much for being here. So let's start with this idea of like the chemicals potentially leaching into my bloodstream. Are the chemicals in sunscreen dangerous?
Yeah, so Travis, first of all, thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be able to be here. This is one of those areas where the health of your own body and then the health of the environment really come together. And I think this is an area where there's some new studies coming out, like you pointed out, in the Journal of the American Medical Association. And so this is an area where consumers can have questions. The good news is the study that we have right now is small. It had less than 24 patients, still very early, and we don't have any evidence that those chemicals going into the skin cause any damage to the body. But what I would say is that it's an area that we need more research and we need to know more. The good news is that while we're waiting for that research, there are other options that are safe both for humans and also for the environment, and so that's where this reef safe designation comes into play.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
What is a reef safe sunscreen and how do I know if I'm buying one?
Yeah. So the reef safe designation is created by some municipalities, so most notably Key West and then also Hawaii, and they have a couple ingredients that they want you to avoid. It's a little complicated, but I went to Target and was able to find some sunscreens.
Which we put out here on the table in front of us. Perfect. So maybe we can get a shot of that while we talk.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is that you want to look for a sunscreen that has a mineral as the main ingredient. So
okay.
That's zinc oxide is usually the most common. And then you want that to be non-nano. So you want the particles to be larger, right, than 100 nanometers in size.
So zinc and non-nano?
Correct.
Okay,
correct.
So that's what I'm looking for on the label, zinc and non-nano. What about spray? Because that's super popular, super easy to get up, especially when you have a kiddo.
Yeah. So it's a hard balance. On the one hand, if it makes it easier so you're more likely to use sunscreen, I'm all for it. I want people to be protected. On the other hand, as a pediatrician, I've seen some kids where, they're out at the beach, it's a windy day, the spray either misses spots and they end up with sunburns, or it goes into their eyes or their mouth, right? And kids can have injuries from that. So it's a balance. I think if that's the only option you'll use it, right? Be protected. But I always trust the ones that are applied kind of more traditionally a little bit more.
So hold those kids down and really grease them up is really the right answer from the doctor.
On a non-windy day.
Right, yes, exactly. Okay, so let's also talk about vacation versus every day. I mean, we just saw the shot. It's gray out there. It's going to rain tomorrow. So, I don't need sunscreen.
Yeah, wrong.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Right answer. Good.
So we get sun in Washington, and we don't know how to plan for it. We're not good about sun protection. So melanoma, the skin cancer that follows after sun exposure, is the fastest growing cancer in the United States. We have to be really careful every day, and kids actually get most of the sun exposure for their lifetime before they're teenagers. And so we particularly have to be careful with our young people because they spend so much time outside. So I think this should really become part of everyone's everyday routine, is putting on some form of sunscreen to make sure they're protected.
I use a moisturizer every single morning that has sunscreen in it.
It's music to my ears.
Just going to say, do that.
Yeah.
Do it with your kids. All right, we only have 30 seconds left, but I want to ask you about other ways to protect your family, your kids, when it comes to the sun.
Yeah, beautiful question. So avoid being out in the sun if you can from 10 to 2. You want to avoid those midday hours. And then the UV protective clothing is fantastic. So, for my baby, we use the UV suits, a hat, sunglasses. We use all the options we can in addition to sunscreen to try and keep them extra protected.
So don't make fun of people if they're all covered up out in the sun and they've got the zinc across their nose and the whole deal, because that's important stuff.
No, they're doing it right.
That's right. Awesome. Thank you very much. Maybe we can get one more shot, I don't know, of this, and we can show people what brands we should use again. Again, we want to look for the reef safe. We want to look for zinc and non-nano.
Perfect.
There we go.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Dr. Michael Alston, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate your time. Kaiser Permanente. Let's talk to